In today's news, active COVID-19 cases back down to 16 in the BVI and 0 hospitalizations. We also see 2 Diamond Estate residents charged for Sunday night shooting. And government denounces rumors of waging war on local businesses. And the Almost-Out High School redevelopment plan not an election gimmick, says Premier Andrew Foy. And we also see VI coach Terrance Chino Chinnery has transitioned. Well, viewers, these are more stories when 284 News return.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know?
Dad, this thing got me staying home. Keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I hustle. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. I'm Kamal Haynes, coming to you live from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Well, a happy Wednesday to one and all, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, we start today's newscast on a positive note, where active positive COVID-19 cases are once again below 20 in the British Virgin Islands, with no present hospitalizations. Well, this was confirmed by an epidemiological report from the Ministry of Health dated today, Wednesday, March 23rd. Well, according to the report, the BVI now has 16 active cases, with 15 on Tortola and 1 on the sister island of Virgin Gorda. Well, a further analysis of the active cases states that 6 are local cases, 2 contacts of cases, and the remaining 8 cases that were detected through travel screening. Well, viewers, moving on to our next story, where the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force has charged 2 Diamond Estate residents in their 20s for the shooting incident which took place in the parking lot of Bobby's supermarket on Sunday. Well, they are 25-year-old Michael Albert Hatchett and 21-year-old Tamisha Dennis. Well, Hatchett is solely charged with attempted murder and is jointly charged with Dennis with possession of a firearm with the intent to endanger life, unlawful possession of ammunition, and carrying an unlicensed firearm. Well, commenting on the breakthrough was Commissioner of Police Mr. Mark Collins, who noted his concerns about the complete disregard in life and property in the early evening incident. Well, he said, and I quote, "Well, any number of innocent customers to this popular supermarket could have been struck or killed or seriously injured in this reprehensible act. Well, this could have easily been another life lost or another family in grief. Well, no dispute is worth the loss of a life. Never ever let anyone in your presence justify carrying a firearm. Well, there is no justification. No one wins in the end," the commissioner stated. Well, according to initial reports from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, 3 vehicles and the storefront window of Bobby's supermarket were damaged during that shooting. Further inquiries from the police suggest that the target were 2 individuals seated in a vehicle in the parking lot. However, no one was injured in the incident. Police continue to appeal to the public to report the whereabouts of any illegal firearms or any individual in possession of these weapons. Well, they are asking persons with information to contact the Special Investigation Team at 368-9155 or the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force 3-digit access number at 311. Moving on, viewers, to our final story before the break, where the leader of government business, Premier the Honourable Andrew Foy, has denounced recent rumours which suggest that his government has waged a war against local businesses. But the allegations stem from the government's recent decision to establish a task force in the territory which will be responsible for patrolling local companies to minimise the prospect of price gouging. Our Premier Foy made a comment during the VIP Let's Talk radio program last evening.
There were those who misunderstood intentionally, I'll put it that way, the actions of this government when we started to talk about fuel prices and other prices going up. And I call it maliciously stated that we have waged a war against businesses. That definitely is not so. All the government is saying and continues to say, if your price to, or your cost to import your goods is already paid for, and you're selling your goods with your markup based on the cost of your goods to get to your store, and you still have more of those products in stock at the same cost, you cannot increase the price because you hear that there's a war against Ukraine and the conflict in Ukraine. That is what we are trying to say. You cannot just increase gas prices and you didn't get a fresh stock in that shows the increase, or you increase jewelry prices and you didn't get a fresh stock in since the conflict started. It is as simple as that. It is called protecting the consumer and making sure that there's good business practice at all times. It will be ludicrous of any government to tell a business that your cost of bringing the goods have increased so you cannot increase prices. I was amazed to know that Parsons spread that, and I was amazed that people would believe it. That would not be wise at all.
Well, the Premier also explained that his government's aim of the initiative is to ensure that the people of the territory are not placed at a disadvantage.
Our aim is to make sure that we look out for what's best for the people of the Virgin Islands, sometimes even when it is not popular. But in a case like this, any person who already had their goods imported, business person, then you have to leave the price where it is at currently until you get a new stock and it shows that your new stock increases. Then we can say you're correct. You can increase the prices because you have no choice at that time. So we're trying to make sure that we start to push ahead with our consumer protection during this time. But we are coming very soon with some measures to put in place that's going to assist with the rise in inflation that's going to come with this conflict, because this conflict is far from over. It has just begun. And yes, some have rushed to do certain things, but just like COVID, when we told persons we were looking it over to come with what's best for the people, some was saying that we were behind, but it turned out that our policies and our measures turned out to have served this country quite well.
Meanwhile, leader of the opposition, Honorable Marlon Penn, called the government's initiative pointless, stating that the task force has no legal authority to enforce measures on a business. He said legislation such as the Consumer Protection Act and bodies such as the Trade Commission are the legal authorities to tackle anything relating to price gouging in the territory. Penn believes that the government dropped the ball by not having all the necessary elements in place to have the Trade Commission fully functioning to tackle the issue of price gouging in the BVI.
I'm the one specifically at a hand in really getting those legislations to a point where they could come to the House and be passed. And the reality is that, yes, Bevan is right. We have not followed through and gotten the Trade Commission established. And that would have been the artery or the institution that have dealt with situations like this. Within the consumer protection legislation, I think it's under section 108, it's the commission has the power to put regulations in place to deal with issues of price gouging. In the U.S. Virgin Islands, they have a system in place to deal with price gouging in case of hurricanes, natural disasters, the case of pandemic, and I think the case of war. Is one of the areas that was identified as well. So you have a mechanism in which you could put these things in place to ensure that at least you have a level of protection for your consumers.
Penn also stressed on the need for the government to have dialogue with the business community.
But I think the first step is having a dialogue with the business community. Don't create an adversarial relationship with the business community at a time when everyone is feeling the pinch. Businesses, consumers, everyone. And we all have to find a way collectively to find a solution out of this situation. That's the only way that we're going to weather this storm of inflation due to all the global things that are happening around us. And that takes leadership, I think. It takes leadership to really sit down, work with everyone, or put everyone around the table and come up with a right solution so that all of us could share the burden and we could get through this situation a little easier collectively. And that's the challenge that we face. But the key things that needs to be moved forward are not being moved forward. Again, smoke and mirrors, you're putting things in place where you know you don't have the authority to really execute and get things done. And the challenges that you have now is that you come in with these sound bites and feel good moments when at the end of the day, these legislation have you passed and you've not implemented. All people can't take them to electricity to pay their bills. All people can't take them to the grocery stores and say, look, price has gone up 40%. How am I going to then supply the necessary goods that I need for my family?
Well, viewers, up next, the Elmore Stout High School redevelopment plans, not an election gimmick, says Premier Andrew Foy, and consumers can cause medication errors too. Well, these and more stories after a word from our sponsors.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting for people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Hello?
Wait, you had a lunch and get? You don't say you were sick? What happened to our wedding rehearsal?
No, babe. I'm actually watching the news right now. Take a listen.
Topping our newscast today, UFOs seen around Tortola Pier Park.
And District 3 residents outraged over no water supply. They simply cannot bathe. These and more stories when 284 News returns. All right, babe, just get some rest, take 2 Advil, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, honey. I see you later. I love you.
It's clear to see that Coconut Lounge is a place to be, the coolest cocktail lounge in the British Virgin Islands. A lounge like no other, with welcoming, professional service, and a breathtaking ambiance. Not forgetting a diverse selection of wines, beers, and signature cocktails. Cozy, comfortable, contemporary. Coconut Lounge at Tortola Pier Park. Visit us today.
Well, viewers, welcome back. Well, Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew Foy, has made it clear that the redevelopment plans for the new 4 buildings at the Elmore Stout High School is not an election gimmick. Well, Premier Foy made the comments during the airing of the VIP Let's Talk radio program on Tuesday. Take a listen.
So I know that there are those who really, many persons want those buildings built, and there will be. And like anything else, there are those who are doubters, wondering if we're going to get them built, and they feel that we have it as an election gimmick. But it's always good to have those around so that when things happen.
Well, Premier Foy also revealed that the Recovery and Development Agency, the RDA, has commenced the process of receiving tendered bids for the project, which is scheduled to be completed by August 2022.
I know today for sure was the day that with the RDA, which does their tendering independent of government altogether, and today is the day that the tenders the bids would be received for the new Elmore Stout High School redevelopment project. We would be getting an update on that later this week, in the Minister of Education and myself, to see how that is going, which is good. What I've been made to to understand is that we had quite a bit of persons submitted their bid, and I want to assure persons this is being done independent of any political interference. Whoever wins those bids would have won them outright because of what they're presented. And in the bid, I know from being informed by the RDA that it is one in which persons must be able to complete these buildings by August, I think it is, so that the students can come back home to the Elmo South High School campus from Passier, and the teachers and support staff can come back home to a real beautiful learning environment back at the Elmo South High School campus. So that was good news today to find out that we had quite a number of persons who turned in their bids today for that.
Well, according to the Premier, the plan is to have the contract signing ceremony for the construction of the buildings by March 31st, 2022. Well, viewers, in an effort to promote the upcoming government-sponsored workshop, Chief of Drugs and Pharmaceutical Services, Mrs. Gracia Wheatley-Smith, spoke about the dangers of medication errors and noted how even consumers can contribute to a medication error. Take a listen.
And if you give us some examples, how could a consumer contribute to medication errors? How could the pharmacist contribute to medication errors? And what about the doctor? Give us a little bit more insight so we could give ourselves a little heads up.
Okay. The doctor in prescribing, maybe their handwriting is illegible. Maybe they're not taking their time to really differentiate between the generic and the brand name of medicines, and sometimes some are very close. The pharmacist, maybe they don't notice an interaction between 2 or 3 medicines. There are some prescriptions that come and you only have one item. And then there are some that can have up to 10, 12 items. And maybe the pharmacist did not run a therapeutic interaction profile. And then you can have 2 or 3 of the medications causing the same effect, like drowsiness. So if you're taking 2 or 3 medications and some may have the side effect of drowsiness, then you're driving or you're operating heavy machinery, you may tend to become more sleepy and then an accident can happen. So now with a nurse, however, they may have a patient mix up and give the wrong patient the wrong medication. Or even a timing of the medication administration. If the doctor says it's to be administered at 2 o'clock and then the nurse finds herself administering it at 3 o'clock, that itself is a medication error in time. And then maybe the patient can get the medication too often. So instead of giving it twice a day, they may end up getting it 3 times a day. So that is a medication error. And with consumers now, sometimes the doctor...
Well, to assist in combating this issue, the government is facilitating a workshop to be held virtually tomorrow, Thursday, March 24th, via Zoom from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Well, interested persons can reserve a space by contacting Mrs. Wheatley-Smith at 468-9850 or via email at grwheatley-smith@gov.vg to register. Well, up next, viewers, the VI coach Terrance Chinnery has transitioned. Well, we have a special feature with various sports personalities in softball and baseball paying their tribute. Well, we will get to that story when 284 News return.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, critically acclaimed Virgin Islands softball and baseball coach Terrance Chinnery has transitioned. Well, throughout his illustrious career, he was responsible for helping to craft countless Virgin Islands athletes who have succeeded in the subsports of softball and baseball. Well, our Ron Grant has the story.
Viewers, we are at the E. Walwynbruley softball field in Tortola, British Virgin Islands, a place where the late Terrance Chino Chinnery left a lasting legacy. Ever since his passing, Virgin Islanders and friends, sportsmen from across the region and the world have come to pay tribute to this remarkable coach and mentor. He will be remembered for his lasting contribution to softball and baseball in the British Virgin Islands. This is his tribute. Critically acclaimed softball and baseball coach Terrance Chino Chinnery has transitioned. This was confirmed by close relatives on Tuesday, March 23, 2022. Chinnery, a Virgin Islander, passed away while out of the territory. Throughout his illustrious career, he was responsible for helping to craft and coach countless Virgin Islands athletes who have succeeded in the sport of softball and baseball. He was most recently employed through the government of the Virgin Islands in the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports, and in 2017 was given the Queen's Badge of Honor. Athletic students of the stalwart Virgin Islander have taken to social media to pay tribute to their coach and mentor, as well as his colleagues and friends.
What can I say about Chino? Chino was a comic. I first met Chino at the 1987 Pan Am Games in Indianapolis, but it wasn't until I really came to work at the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports from the college that we really got to know each other and find out more about each other. And he was a man that was dedicated to sport. His family is from Jost Van Dyke, and he spent a lot of time growing up on St. John and working and teaching softball and baseball to youngsters, taking them all over the place. He did the same thing when he returned to the BVI. It was Mrs. Parsons, Eileen Parsons, who got him to come to the BVI to develop what he was doing here, and he could be seen on the field every afternoon working with young people. He touched many lives. He would take players to camps and clinics in St. Thomas and St. John. They would play in St. Thomas, stay at his house, go back to St. Thomas. He used his own personal resources on many occasions to help young people. And I think one of his crowning moments or his highlight was seeing the four players, Kenneth Dawson, Shamoy Shrimpy Christopher, Demoy Hodge, and Natishan Shadow Thomas play for the Great Britain team in the European Baseball Championships last year. He helped many persons get to college and university. Many of the young girls and boys around here can tell you the type of impact he has had on their lives. He was a mentor, a father figure, everything that they needed, all wrapped up in one. We did a lot of things together. I worked with him a lot on softball. I did a lot of the administrative stuff. He came up with the ideas and I helped put it together. He was my co-host at the DYAS Voice on ZBVI, and whenever he was doing any activity, I would always make sure I cover it. And that was even before coming to work with him at the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports. I think he will be remembered by the many lives he touched across the BVI and in the US Virgin Islands. And if you look at social media, you can see the impact he has had on people and the many posts that are being made about how he introduced their children and some of them to playing baseball. He was a good man. He was a man who was dedicated to development and wanted to see development. And I know he planned to get back in schools now that he had just retired in November. He wanted to get back in schools and help them with softball. Chino, may he rest in peace.
It's definitely a tough time for us in the softball and baseball family. Terrance Chinnery meant so much on so many levels for BVI and even for the greater Virgin Islands, and I'm sure they will have their tributes in the US Virgin Islands as well. We know that Chino, originally out of that St. John, St. Thomas area, and he's done so much for baseball and softball there, and actually helped to bridge the gap between USVI and BVI, taking teams back and forth to participate in different tournaments. He's worked with so many young kids who are now, playing either professionally in Europe or representing on the UK national team. He's groomed so many players that defended and represented the BVI and our national team, whether in baseball or in softball. He's even had female pitchers pitching against the males. How talented Chino was in developing talent.
So Mr. Terrance Chinnery, he was a great man. Small in stature, but definitely great personality. Lots of memories I have with him. I know him for most of my life, pretty much. I started softball from like the age of 5. I think I got to know Chino at about 8-9 years old. So from then until now, that's a lot of years knowing someone. He has been instrumental in my life. Not only as a coach, he was someone that you can always talk to. He was someone that you can always approach and have a really good look at life and a good look at how we, go about things. He was a real, true, genuine person that really cared for everyone around him. And as I said, he will be truly, truly, truly missed all around, not only in the BVI, the USVI as well. He was known all around.
It is with deep sadness that I learn of the passing of a dear friend of mine, Terrance Chinnery. I've known Terry for many years, both as a competitor in softball, where we first met in St. John, and as an administrator in the British Virgin Islands. I think it was Mr. Eileen Parson was instrumental in getting him over here to help develop softball. It's a great loss for the territory, and that Terry dedicated his all.
Well, viewers, a very heartfelt tribute sent to Mr. Chinnery, basically from a number of persons who he would have inspired throughout his lifetime here in the territory. And to basically view that full version of that tribute, you can tune into our platforms at 284 Media on Instagram and Twitter at 8 p.m. this evening. Well, viewers, that's all we have for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BV on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Kamal Haynes. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Live stream cable TV is here with CCT Live. Access over 80 channels that you can watch either at home or when you're on the go. And don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Rewind and watch in your own time. Come to CCT today and ask about our 1-month free trial offer. CCT Live. Bring it home.
Summary line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, Sonny.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Over there. You must have cut fun topic.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?